City Matters.
Hello and welcome to hmTV. I'm your host, Bernie Furshpan, host of Ordinary Heroes here at the Holocaust Memorial and Tolerance Center of Nassau County. Today I have a very special guest. No ordinary hero. She's pretty extraordinary. She grew up and lived in Argentina and experienced what we call anti-Semitism. Today it may look like a different form of anti-Semitism, but we're going to talk about it, what it was like for her when she grew up as a young person in Argentina. Today, she's an absolute hero because she's taking a sport that she absolutely loves, tennis, and she uses it as a powerful tool to build community and inclusion. So I'd like to welcome my very special guest, Fabiana Rezak. Thank you for joining me today.
Thank you for having me, Bernie.
It's a pleasure to have you here. We met coincidentally, but it seems like our paths were meant to cross several times. This is a third time, in a way, that we're kind of meeting each other. The first time you were in Uruguay for a film festival, that the film that I am the subject of, that Christiane Arbizu produced, was being played at this festival. So we kind of crossed paths that way. That was a sign. That was your first sign. The second sign is that you came to the screening of the film and we met there, and I heard your story and I said, this is a fabulous story. We definitely have to talk about it. So it's a pleasure to have you here.
Thank you.
Do you enjoy being a citizen here in the United States of America?
I love it, yes.
It's a special country, right? Most people take it for granted because they haven't really traveled much, so they don't know what it's like out there.
Yes, it is special, and I think as a kid growing in Argentina, I always looked at the United States like a better land out there.
Yes.
And also because my parents wanted to come here, but they couldn't. And so I saw my dad coming back home after many hours at the American embassy, trying to be able to come here or Canada. But at that time, as a doctor, he couldn't come here.
Right.
They needed, I guess, carpenter. If you were a carpenter or plumber, it was easier.
So they had like a quota for certain jobs that they were looking for people to work at, right?
I guess. I was younger, but I still remember them trying. And they were able to do it when I was very young and my sisters were very young. But at that time, they didn't want to leave the country because we were young. We were in school. They just didn't think it was the right time.
I see.
And then when they wanted, they couldn't.
Oh, boy. And you grew up in a very exciting city, Buenos Aires. I mean, if I think of Buenos Aires, I think of flamenco.
Yes,
right?
it is.
I think of food and excitement and nightlife.
And it is. It actually is, yes, if you don't live the day-to-day grind.
Right.
But it is an amazing city.
It is, yeah.
And I lived in the outskirts, so when I was a teenager, I started to experience the city more because then I would go out with friends in the city. And so I experienced it more. But I left at 17, so every time I go back, I still love it.
So let's go back to that time, just before you left. What was it like growing up in Buenos Aires for you as a kid?
At first, as a kid, I was fine. I went to a Jewish school until about third grade. Then I went to elementary school, a public school.
Did they have a large Jewish community there?
At that time, it was about 250,000.
Oh, 250,000.
Yeah, that was about in the late 70s, early 80s.
And so when did you first become aware that anti-Semitism actually existed there?
When I was in high school.
When you were in high school?
Yeah, about what you would compare to about 10th, 11th, 12th grade.
Right. When you were about 15, 16, 17 years old.
Right. And we were having stories, we were having lessons about World War II in school. And then a couple of kids came and said something to me. And at that time, I didn't even answer because I wasn't sure really like what to answer, but I heard it and I still remember. And so at that time, I remember experiencing that. And then my sister, who is a few years older, also she had an experience, or a friend of hers that I remember being told the story.
So it's kind of shocking, right?
You
think you have friends in school. You think that they're on your side. You don't even know that they're taking a different side. And then all of a sudden they spew out these words of hate, prejudice, anti-Semitism, and it throws you back. It's like you didn't expect it. You didn't even think they knew much about it. So where do they learn these things?
Well, I don't know, and I didn't really stop to think about that at that time. But I guess at that time, I also learned how many ex-Nazis went to live in Argentina.
Right.
So.
And they had some influence, perhaps?
Yeah.
Perhaps?
Yeah, most likely.
Yeah.
So, because at that point there was a big influx of Germans that came. So
I wonder if the Jewish community knew this. And if they did know, why would they move to a country? Maybe the country opened its arms to the refugees. So maybe somehow the Nazis got in there that way, that they were considered refugees. Perhaps they came in as refugees, not really telling their true stories.
Yeah, well, at that time also, I guess it was the government that took them in.
Yeah.
So maybe they knew. I don't.
Yeah. It's such an interesting story, right? I'm sure there's plenty documentaries about it. I haven't seen them all, so I don't know.
Right, yes. And I guess I left also very shortly after, a couple of years after these incidents. And I was always very busy playing tennis.
Mm-hmm.
And so you just kind of go to school, play tennis,
Right.
focus on what you have to do.
Very good.
And you push all those things aside.
Do you still have family in Argentina?
Yes, I have a sister there with who is married with 4 kids, all in almost their 20s now. And then my parents moved to Uruguay.
Oh, that's why you went to Uruguay.
Right. Yes, so this past February, I went to visit my parents by surprise. So, yeah, I just showed up one day.
Now, that's a country I would never think of visiting, but it sounds so intriguing.
Oh, it is. It's beautiful.
It is.
Yes, actually, just somebody shared that it's one of the best retiring places.
Really? And it's a democratic society? It's a free society?
Yes.
Oh, that's wonderful. That's wonderful. How do you think, from what you know, speaking to your sister perhaps, visiting back in Argentina, how anti-Semitism perhaps evolved and morphed into something else over the years in Argentina? Did it, or is it pretty much the same?
People have to be careful still.
They do?
Yes.
In what way?
They do. And
not expose that they're Jewish, perhaps?
I mean, some people do it without, really worrying much.
Mm-hmm.
They just are open.
They feel free to live their lives without fear.
They want it to be authentic, and and others, I guess it's like here. Others want to hide it more.
Yeah.
So, but for me, I mean, I had I guess people knew that I was Jewish, playing tennis and in school.
Were you good at tennis when you were young? Did you compete?
Yes, I competed. I competed since I was 8 years old.
Oh, wow.
And at 12, I was nationally ranked.
Is that right?
Yes.
That's fabulous.
Yes, I look back because now I play with my son, and I don't know how I did it because after a couple of rallies, I get tired. And it's like, I don't know how I play these 3-hour matches. And
let me tell you.
That's what.
Recently, I played basketball with my son. I fell to the ground. I couldn't get up.
Oh, no, I'm sorry to hear.
I used to be able to actually bounce up. Now I couldn't get up, and I told him, could you please give me a hand? I can't get up.
I know. We feel it a little bit more. We got to.
I would say, but you're still playing, and that's what's amazing.
I still play, and I mean, it's nice. My son now loves to play when My daughter played, she was MVP in her school and all county.
That's great.
Yes, so no, I still play, but when I have to play at my best, I get really tired and I wonder how I did it before.
You're involved here with tennis, and you created an organization, or a business, shall I say, and it's called Tennixise. So if you can explain what Tennixise is.
Okay, it's a mix of tennis and exercise.
Oh.
And I guess I look back at all how hard it was for me to get better. And also I became a fitness instructor besides being a tennis instructor. And I saw a lot of similarities about body awareness and just basic fitness that compared to tennis moves.
Mm-hmm.
So, and when my daughter was young, it was hard to bring her to play many times. I had to drive, like, say, to, Glen Cove. It would take me 25 minutes, half hour to drive. And I felt like she could do things at home and not drive a half hour, see her make all the same mistakes while she was playing with other people. So I said, here, let's do it at home. And basically, I isolated many movements for her to become aware of her moves.
Mm-hmm.
And that's how she would improve her technique and make her shots better.
Right.
So between the hardships my parents went through, then how hard it was for me and how expensive it is every time you go out to play, then I figured it's a way to make the game more accessible.
Mm-hmm. Very good. So it's a tool. Tennis is not just a form of camaraderie and sports and good sportsmanship, but it's also it's a tool to build community, to build friendships. How do you use it to allow people to realize that we all share the same needs and fears and desires, but also that sports is a common language that we share. Besides art, right? The various forms of arts are also a bridge between people, and it brings walls down. So how do you use that and bring community together?
Well, when you play tennis, I don't know how much, like tennis or pickleball. I call pickleball mini.
I'm a ping pong guy.
Okay, same thing.
Yeah.
So to keep a rally, a rally is when you keep a ball back and forth.
A volley, yeah. Volleying back and forth, yeah.
Yes. Well, volley is without the bounce.
Right.
And then rally is the back and forth.
How do you spell that?
R-A-L-L-Y.
I never heard that word, believe it or not. So rally is the back and forth without it
rally
hitting
is
the
the back
floor.
and forth.
Okay, very good. Yeah.
Well, you could have a hit in the floor or not.
Right.
Volley rally where it doesn't hit the floor.
Yeah.
Or where it touches the floor and then you hit it back. So that takes a lot of control and teamwork and effort from both parts.
Teamwork, that's the key.
Yes. And for example, many people, and including me, maybe, like I took many tennis lessons growing up, but I couldn't rally. And I experienced students that came to me after having many years of lessons, maybe with somebody else, that also couldn't rally. And maybe I was at the same fault because I taught technique and not how to rally the ball, because I've been doing this for a long time. So you try to get better as you go. So, and you have the most fun when you are able to play back and forth. So you could have the most beautiful technique, but hit a good shot. But if somebody doesn't hit it back to you, you are not playing.
Right.
And so now I kind of leave the technique a little aside, and it's about hitting back and forth and communicating. So whether you are playing with a person more advanced or not as good as you have to figure out how to make it work together to keep the ball. So it's kind of problem solving. How are we going to keep this ball back and forth? So, and because sometimes, kids or even adults, they go bang and the ball goes.
You made a very good point, and that is that in order to strategize together, they have to communicate. Once you have that platform, once they've already communicated, first of all, they broke the ice, and they created a channel between the two of them to express how they feel about something, correct? About this situation, next time you hit it this way, next time you stand over there, but they're communicating and they're working together. Once you have that platform, now you can talk about other topics. Many times when it's a hot topic and people start off that way, they push back right away and they decide they don't want to talk about it. But if they've already set the ground, right, they've already kind of created a path of discussion, then they can start bringing in some hotter topics. I find that to be the case with many people, that even in business or networking opportunities, when people meet each other, they break the ice, they talk about things that they have in common, sports, family, right? Then they start talking about the more difficult subjects, and it's easier. So it's kind of the same thing. Now, pickleball, it reminds me of a sport that they play in Israel. It's called matkot, or paddleball, right? And the beaches, you'll hear the balls.
Kadima.
Kadima. Yeah, Kadima is the name of the paddle, right? But it's called matkot is the actual sport.
Oh, okay.
And so they hit it back and forth on the beach, and you can hear it from miles away. And there's hundreds of people playing this game. It sounds like pickleball to some degree. But not on a court.
Right. That's what I always tell people, that you don't need a tennis court to play and get better.
Oh.
Because, yes, we used to play on the grass or on the beach, and you play even with a wooden paddle that, nowadays they are like so beautiful compared to what it used to be then.
Right.
And, but yeah, you play to keep it back and forth wherever you are. And that's how you get better at whether it's pickleball or tennis.
Mm-hmm. I'm going to ask a very good question. It's a little deeper. How do you intentionally teach respect? I'm sure there's a way you do that. Respect each other, empathy, listening to the other person, and resilience on the court. And what lessons do kids carry off the court into their daily lives?
Some kids are easier to get it through them. Some could be perfectionist or not willing to try as hard. And so it's a little harder. But like I always, again, try to, either I do it with them to make it easier, but just basically always saying, just do it again, keep trying, and any effort is better than no effort.
Right.
And playing with somebody back and forth is very hard. So I tell them, figure out a way, like for example, roll the ball back and forth. As long as it's going back and forth, you are doing it together. And so basically just keep trying.
Very good. And you have young people from different backgrounds playing together. Do you find, or have you had a situation where kids from different backgrounds perhaps may have been resistant to play with other kids, or you found that they really got along and they were surprised and happy as a result?
No, I teach people from all different walks of life.
And they get along beautifully?
No, not all the time.
They don't, not all the time.
Sometimes better, sometimes.
This is quite challenging.
Yes, and depending on the age too.
Right, so how do you do that? So how do you work with them if they don't always get along?
So basically telling them you gotta work it together.
You gotta work it together.
Here I make them listen,
right,
because it's so important beyond the tennis court.
Right.
And sometimes they have mistreated each other. Somebody, like I had students where they stopped coming because somebody made a bad comment they didn't like. And I still try to talk to the parents and the children to make sure that basically on the court we are making things better for the world.
Right.
So
that's a beautiful statement right there.
Thank you. It sounds very utopic, but...
No, it's an important thing, because my next question was going to be, what kind of responsibilities do you think coaches and teachers have in combating hate? And I think you said it beautifully, but you can elaborate on it if you want.
Well, yes. So, for example, I go back to some cases that I remember, and I always go back to that because of also some of my experiences growing up. So maybe I have been I have been left to the side for whatever reason. Maybe I wasn't as good or whatever. Somebody didn't want to play with me. So I tried to make it better because I know how hurtful it is. So whether it was in Argentina or whatever town you live in, it's about people respecting each other and playing with each other and getting better together. So I always finish the lessons, we play together, we learn together, we have fun together.
Very good.
And,
it sounds like you're really enjoying this too, this whole process.
I do. And even with the parents, sometimes it's even within a family. And because like a kid gets upset with the parent and the parent sometimes is not listening to what the kid needs.
I see.
So I say, how about, do you want mom to hit it or dad to send it to you softer, lighter, or slower? It's like, yeah. So you want it faster. So, and just simple like that, in a simple way like that, they start communicating their needs, and then they can play together.
Yeah.
But sometimes it's a lot of frustration.
It's almost like you're a social worker, a sports social worker.
I guess, yes. Yeah. It's false. Yeah,
because sometimes you have to, right?
I never thought about it that way. Yes,
you got to make them see things broader, right? The bigger picture, and what the aim and the goal is. It's really teamwork. Really, that's the bottom line. It's not just sportsmanship. It's also teamwork and knowing how to get along with your partner as well as your opposition, right? And to be a good team player and a good sports person, right? Meaning that if you lose some and you win some, and not to get too upset, right? I find that kids get, I remember there was a baseball team in our high school and junior high school back in Brooklyn. And the day after they lost the game, they were so depressed. And I'm saying, oh my God, they're like on a roller coaster ride. Why can't they just keep an even keel? I was able to keep an even keel since I was a kid.
Good for you.
And
that's great.
It's rare, but I understood how to do that and why I should do that. I was able to be more objective and do better all the way around. And I just couldn't understand how, even if their team, like the Mets or the Yankees, lost the day before, that day they were depressed. They couldn't do homework. They couldn't think. It's like, wow, are they emotionally attached to this? It's good to be somewhat attached, but not to that degree where it controls your emotions, right? So it's important to keep some kind of a distance like that.
Yes,
and not to use it to reflect who you are. Because a lot of people use sports as a reflection of who they are, like they made a bad choice or a good choice if it was a team. And if it's a game, that it's a reflection on them that they're not a good person. But they're a good person. It's just a game.
Yeah, definitely. It's been hard for me when I was competing too. And
I'm sure. Well, when you're competing, that's even harder because now you're competing for money and fame and prizes, right? And recognition.
Right, and you always feel like you're better a better person if you win, but that's right. What you try to
But you're not a better person. You're the same person.
Right, yes, right? So that's what you start to learn afterwards.
Right. You realize that you're the same person, you just have something on the wall, a plaque or something.
Yeah, that's what I try to tell kids. Mommy and daddy will still love you even though...
That's right. Life is not going to change much. But I have my final question, since we're winding down this wonderful conversation that we've had so far. Are you optimistic about the future, and what gives you hope when you look at the kids that you work with?
That they are willing to listen when they start to listen, and they are willing to make the effort and just willing to try. What's it's in the court or the gym or whatever space we play at, that it could transcend to the relationships of the court.
Very good. So I'm going to have the final word, and I really, truly appreciate you taking the time today to be with me. And I just want to say what you're doing is incredible. It's great. It's you have a niche in society, and you're doing your share. Everybody's doing their little share. There's a lot of people who are doing great things to help the youth to have a better life for themselves, to reach higher for society. And then the majority of us who basically don't get involved. So we're talking to the majority, the silent majority, who do nothing, but we want them to get involved and do something great with young people, teach them to get along, to coexist beautifully, because we're all one big family. We're all one big human family. And this is all we have on this tiny little planet. We're looking to move on to other planets when we didn't even get this one right.
Right.
Right? So we're going to carry our baggage to another planet and get it wrong there as well. So people think that they're going to run away from our problems, but that's not the case. And I want to thank you again, Fabiana Rezak, for joining me here today. And I want to thank my listening audience today for watching me, Bernie Furshpan, host of Ordinary Heroes, here on hmTV at the Holocaust Memorial and Tolerance Center. Until next time.